Hi, good morning. Welcome to my craft room today. Today is Monday, February 2nd already, and this month just really snuck up on me. And so you'll notice when I flip my camera down that a lot of things are handwritten because I forgot to print them out. So anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here today. We're going to make some Valentine's cards today, and I was wondering, what colors do you like to use when you make Valentine's Day cards? Are you a traditionalist with your reds and pinks and whites and things like that, or do you like some other colors? You'll notice today that I'm using some blues and some Highland Heather, which is a light purple, in my cards today, and I have a story about the paper I'm using today that I'll tell you in just a little bit. I'm going to, I haven't had my tech support lately, and so I'm having a little bit of trouble with some of this, and that's why I'm in the corner and on the main screen, but hopefully I'm going to be able to switch it, and so you can see my tabletop, and I'll still be in the corner, because you never know with me. Anything can happen. So I'm going to show you first the cards we're going to make, and then I'm going to review a little bit with you. So let me, oh, look at that, it's magic. Okay. These are the cards we're going to make today. And like I said, we're going to use a light blue, and we're going to use a light purple. This is called Balmy Blue, and this one's called Highland Heather that I'm going to share with you today. And my paper story is I've ordered the new Valentine's paper twice, and both times it was out of stock. And and we have this gorgeous new paper that is available. Let me see if I can find it quickly in the book. And it's, in fact, it's so popular that it keeps going out of stock, and then they quick make some more and bring it in. But I haven't been able to get it, so I had to pivot, and I looked in my little bin of Valentine's papers, and lo and behold, I had way more Valentine's paper than I thought I had. In fact, a couple of the packages weren't even open from last year and the year before. And I like those Valentine's papers. And maybe you have Valentine's papers in your stash that you like. And we can always pivot. If we don't have everything that is shown to us, we can always pivot and use something else. And of course I cannot find the page because I didn't mark it ahead of time with the Hearts of Elegance or something like that. I'm really bad at remembering the names too. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's reds, pinks, whites, and it's got gold in it. And I love gold. And I have this new gold ribbon that would go perfectly with it. And I can't find it. Anyway, take my word, it's gorgeous. And I think I have it linked below in my description of the paper. Anyway, these are the cards we're going to make today. And I will share more about that. And like I said, I looked in my stash. This is all my paper that I have from past years. And it's really pretty paper. I mean, there's hearts, lots of hearts. There's background papers with small designs, large designs. There's watercolor-ish paper. There's the bee paper, and we have a new bee punch, and a new bee paper, Valentine's Day paper, and we have the the older stuff that I have. And these make some really cute cards too. Last year we had this beautiful white with gold hearts on it, and I love this paper. And on the back it had this plaid that was really pretty too. I think I shared that one with you. We had these hearts. These might have been 2 years ago where we had these hearts, and I had a bunch of this paper. Anyway, I couldn't believe it when I looked in my bin that, you know, I don't always look in. This one hasn't even been opened. And there's more B paper. This is what we're going to use today, is some of these papers. This is the Highland Heather. This is the gold stuff. And then there's the Balmy Blue. Sticking together here. Anyway, my point was, you can always pivot and find something. You can look at the card patterns that are shared with you on anybody's video. And of course, you know, especially I would like you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and so that you would watch me and hopefully pick me as your demonstrator. That would be a great honor if you would do that. But anyway, my point was, it's always important as a card maker to be able to pivot and use what you have sometimes when you can't get what you want. I can always get what I want for one reason or another, and so I try to make do. Last week I shared the storybook moments with you, or the last 2 weeks I shared storybook moments with you, and we made a lot of cards with storybook moments, which is one of my favorite suites or bundles that you can purchase right now. They have a lot of ephemera, which means already colored and cut out stuff that you can stick on your cards. It makes it so easy. You can do fancy folds. I showed you how to do this one last week, where we do this fancy fold and it stands up like that. And then we made one with a bigger one. This one, we made that. I think we made this one the week before, and then we made this one. So there was lots of them that we made with storybook moments that were great cards. I want to remind you about my specials. Again, like I said, February snuck up on me. So I do have a new host code for February, but I haven't made my little banner. But if you order from me this month, please use the host code THM2N3HS. Okay? And when you do that, if you make a $40 order before shipping and tax, you'll get 4 card kits from me. And the card kits for February are going to be Valentine's cards that I'm going to show you today. And like I said, see, I've got all this paper over here, so it might be a little bit of a surprise on what colors you get. And if you tell me in the chat what colors you like, then I'll look for something that you like. So that's for a $40 order. You get 4 card kits that I will mail to you for free. If you give me a $50 order in my online store using my host code, you'll get the 4 card kits and some surprise gems. A $60 order, well, we're still doing celebration throughout. It was through January and through February. And so you will get to pick out a free celebration item from the celebration catalog. It's also online if you don't have one, and you can look through it there. Or when you do place your order, all of the items with their pictures pop up, and you can just click on the ones that you want, and it puts it in your cart, and it's no charge because it's celebration. This is our biggest sale of the year. Okay, so that that's for a $60 order, you get the celebration. 4 card kits and a gem, 60, 4 card kits, gems, and free celebration. 120, you get all of the above, and you get either 2 celebration items, or there's a couple items in there that are at the 120 threshold. They're a little more, there's like stamps and dies, you know, they're a little more costly. So there's a couple of things that are at that level. And if you do a $150 order, do not use my host code, because you will automatically become the host, and you will get not only your celebrations, but you'll get Stampin' Rewards, which is a fancy way of saying you get to pick out anything in the catalog. It depends on how much you spend. They'll tell you exactly how much you've earned. But you can pick from any of the catalogs, or online specials, or online exclusives, or last chance products, whatever you want, and you get it for free, because that is what Stampin' Rewards are all about. And they're going to change that, actually, I think on April 1st, and you're going to be able to earn that more easily. For every $20 you spend, you get 5% of that back, and you can stack those rewards and save them for up to a year. You have to use them within a year. But we're going to be taking away their Stampin' Up's taking away the host code thing, and you will just, for every $20 you spend, you start accumulating 5% of that all the time, and then you can just keep saving that, if you know, for a whole year, until you get, you know, a good chunk of change in your account, and then you can order free stuff yourself. So that'll be kind of fun too. So today I want to start with, I think I want to start with this card, and I don't know, I'm going to put this closer to the camera so maybe you can see it. I used a quilty effect on this card, which is, it gives it a lot of texture, okay? So what you need to make this card is, okay, there it is. It was white. Couldn't see it. You're going to use a white card base. It's basic white, 8.5 by 5.5, which is a standard card base in the United States. It's called an A2 card base, scored at 4.5, so it's just going to fold in half like that. 8.5 by 4.5. Then you're going to need a black layer. I put a black layer in here to make this pop, because this was all really kind of light colors, so I wanted to make it pop a little bit, so I put a really thin black layer, a 1/16 of an inch around it. And this layer number 1 is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and we're going to put that on next. Okay. And my bone folder would be, it would be somewhere, okay. Before I had a bone folder, I used my scissors, just the end where you put your fingers in, and I would fold it straight down. It'll turn up. So your card base, your black, then you need some balmy blue. Well, you need a color of cardstock. You always need to pick your designer series paper before you pick your cardstock, and this matched the paper that I used today, which looks like I used 2 patterns. And I'm going to show you how I did this. I used 2 patterns, and they both have balmy blue in them. So that's why I chose balmy blue cardstock. So since these are my card kits this month, I'll send you stuff that goes together. It might be this, but I'll probably run out of this pretty quick, because I'm pretty low on this particular pattern, because I've always liked this paper and I've used it a lot. So this balmy blue, for instance, it would be your card base, or your layer number 2, and you need to emboss it. And you can emboss it with pretty much anything you want, but an embossing folder that has a small pattern on it versus a large pattern works better for embossing. This one I decided to use as Dashing Designs, and I have it linked below. It's a 3D embossing folder, and it worked really well on this one. So I embossed, first I embossed this layer, and I'm going to also emboss I also embossed my cards that I made. So the next layer that you need is white, is basic white, and it needs to be 4.5 by 5.5, and we're going to cut some squares, and I've got a few cut that complement each other. I picked 2 complementary balmy blue ones, and we're going to glue them onto this white layer and emboss it. Well, you can cut your hearts out first and emboss it. And I'm gonna start actually with this, because what you want to do, the first step you want to do before you start making your card, I'm going to set this just to the side. I'll put these up here so you can still see them. Is I cut 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. This is what I cut them out of. And to make these pretty hearts, I cut 1.5 inch strips out of these 2 complementary colors, and then I cut turned it and cut the squares to make squares. And I have I just put a new blade in. Whoops, everything's falling. So once you have your strips, your 1.5 inch strips, then it's really easy to go through quickly and cut your squares. And I'm thinking real quickly here that these squares might be 1.25. Nope, I cut 1.5. Okay. So I cut my squares. Just like that. And you can just keep sliding down and cutting your squares. Yeah, they're 1.5. I'm thinking about the other card, is what I was getting mixed up with. And so then I have a bunch of squares. And glue works best for this. And I just would squirt the glue on, and I'm going to make a pattern on here. So I have 2 different patterns of my designer series paper, and it's going to go over the edge a little bit, which is going to be okay. And I'm going to alternate my patterns. So, and this one is directional. All the little hearts are going up and down. So I tried to pay attention to that when I glued them on. So this one, I'm going to make rows. So this one, let me show you with this one. I'm going to change it on the second row so that these 2 are diagonal, and these 2 are diagonal. And I go on this one, and I would just keep going. And like I said, your squares, you can see that my squares, I'm going to go off the edge, and it's okay. It's okay. You want to really glue those down. And if you have a book or something, while these are drying, I have a block. I have a big block. And so I put this big block on here to let it dry, because it is important to let this dry before you emboss or cut. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to finish this design and cover this whole white square with your little squares, your 1.5 inch squares, okay? And you will have a whole paper like this. And I ended up with this. No, this is after I cut it out. So then I used And this one is new, my Hearts of Elegance set. And I used this one. Now they have a really big heart in here, a really big one, but I didn't use that one. Okay. I used, on this page, I used the large, the medium, and the small hearts to cut those out. And I cut my hearts out first. After my squares were on this paper, after all my squares were on and dry, I cut my hearts out. That's how I did it. Then, after I cut my hearts out of this, then I ran it through the embossing folder, this Dashing Designs embossing folder, and embossed all of my hearts. So now I have, my hearts they're all dry. They've been cut, they've been embossed, and I'm ready to start putting my card together. So now I can bring this other stuff back in to do that. So I'm going to start with my basic black layer on top of my card base. Oh, an errant little pearl. I thought I lost one when I was doing this. Try to put him right there. Okay. So you can use glue. I'm going to just use a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus to put this on. Now, the advantage with glue is this is really narrow and it helps to slip and slide, well, especially this blue layer. This one won't be too hard. But I'm going to put this on. This is going to be a very narrow, you're going to see a white border. So you're going to see white, then you're going to see black. And then I'm going to use my balmy blue that I've embossed again with Dashing Designs. And I think I will use some glue on this one, because I do want to be able to slip this one around. And I'm going to be pretty generous because this is embossed and it has the indentions in it from the embossing folder. Now I want my edges to stick down, but I don't want to put my glue too terribly close to my edges. But I am going to be pretty generous with that glue. And then I'm going to place that. So I just have a 1/16 of an inch. And now see, I can slip it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Slip it to get it where I want. So then I took and you see, my DSP went off the edge here when I was cutting this out, and it's okay because you got it all glued down and you waited till it dried. And if I had a couple little pieces fall out that weren't glued down, and I just glued them back in because it's like a puzzle, and it worked just fine. So I'm going to put some glue on here, and I glued one heart here, and then I popped one up on a few dimensionals. I always like to use my tweezers to get these little papers off. They're really hard for me to get off otherwise. And I just set that one at a different angle, and then I glued this one flat. Just like that. Okay. Okay, I used, I forgot to do that. I used some of this clear, this sheer ribbon that I was handing out willy-nilly in November and December, so maybe you got some of this, but I just love this because it's really versatile. And I did wrap this around before I glued it down, and I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to put a bow on here, and I have some bows already tied. I think I'm going to use a double bow maybe, yeah. And I use glue dots to do my bows with. Just pull one off, and I usually kind of, they're really pliable. And there's a front and a back sheer ribbon, your bow, and you'll get that in your set. And I'll just put him right there. But you can, I'll include some ribbon too that you can put under here. But you need to put it, attach it before you attach the black piece. Okay. And I'll include some pearls. Take that one out of there, because pearls look really nice on here. They're white. They do stand out nicely. I just randomly stuck some pearls on here. I'll put one up there. Okay. And then I cut an inside, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. And I used my bee that I had. This Happy Valentine's Day is in my Be My Valentine, and this is still available, and I have it linked below. I had this, and these little hearts were just some stuff I had in my stash. I think they're Kathy Zelsky, if I remember right. I've had them for several years, and I just thought they looked pretty good. Just I didn't want anything overpowering in this, and so you can see I was trying different things on the back. And I'll just put a little bit of tape on here, and I have an inside. Okay, so even though I had stuff stamped on the back side, you can't see it on the other side. It looks just fine. So anyway, so that's card number 1, with a lot of embossing, making this quilty effect. Make sure that you, when you do the paper on your card, that you're going every other pattern, and cover the entire card. You will have a little bit going over this edge and the bottom edge, and that's okay. They don't fit exactly, but it'll be plenty to get your 3 hearts on there. And do wait until it's completely dry. Like this one's still wet, and I can feel it's wet. And if I ran it through an embossing or through die cuts, the glue would squirt out, and I don't want that. So I want to wait until it's completely dry. It takes like maybe half an hour or so. So you start that one early, you know, before you do it. And you can also, did I have that cut? Put a, because this XOXO, this is from Stylish Shapes, and I don't see this on my desk. Is it in here? I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, the XOXO was from Hearts of Elegance, and I did it in black because I wanted to pick up this black edge. I wanted to pick that up, and I that's why I also stamped inside in black, and then I used the balmy blue ink to stamp the hearts. That's why I did that. So that is card number 1. Card number 2, we're going to be cutting some squares also, and doing a little bit of embossing also. Running out of little places to pile things. Anyway, I've got all this desk space around me. You wouldn't believe it. It's a hot mess, but I keep my stacks and piles. So this one has a lot of layers, and you start out with a card base, and your primary color is Highland Heather, and you just start with this is a standard A2, but it's cut the long way, so it's a standing up tent fold. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Okay. I'll take these old ones off so you won't get confused, because I know no one ever gets confused, right? It's kind of my constant state. Anyway, with this card, then these are all our little pieces and parts. This is one of the celebration items that you can get for free with a $60 order, and I love this embossing folder. It's called Starstruck Embossing Folder. I put SAB to remind myself that it was free for celebrations, and I also used some of these gems that is also a celebration item, and I linked those below. They're purple adhesive back sequins, and they're real flat. So that's something else I use from celebrations on this particular card. Okay, so your paper that you're going to cut. So you've got your card base, and this time I picked the purple paper from my stash. I picked the stripes, and I picked this has different languages. I love you, je t'aime, you know, I can't pronounce the rest of them, but anyway, that's the limit of my foreign language right there. And these are my 2 DSPs, Designer Series papers, that I picked, and then that's what helped me pick my card base color, okay, the Highland Heather. So you need 4 1/2 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. You also need another piece, 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. That's going to go on the front. You need, this is the layer on top, the first layer. Whoops, maybe right side up would help, right? Basic white, layer 1. You're going to emboss it with the Starstruck or whatever smallish design you have, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then you need a bunch of little pieces and parts. We're going to have some ribbons, and these ribbons are simply my sheer ribbon. You see the similarity? But I used my Stampin' Blends because I thought I want something different, and I want it to be Highland Heather. So I used my dark Highland Heather Stampin' Blends to color it, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut a piece off, and I'll show you how I did that. It's really easy, dries really fast, and when you have Stampin' Blends or alcohol markers, you can turn your ribbon into any color you need it, and it's fun, it's easy. So then, the little parts I have, the DSP, you need to cut 4 altogether, but you need to cut 2 of each pattern. And these are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. That's what I was thinking a minute ago when I was talking to you. I wasn't sure I had it right. But it's this one that's 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 for your DSP. Because you also need some white squares, that these are 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. And the color, the DSP goes on the white squares. Okay. Then I used that same Hearts of Elegance, and I cut, they have this really pretty heart in here. Where did I put the really pretty heart? I must have put it in this bag. I hope I put it away in a safe spot, right? Anyway, it's in this folder, and I did not put it in a safe spot, or I'm gonna find it in a minute. One of the two. Anyway, it comes with this set. I don't know where I put it, but it makes the prettiest little dot pattern on it. Can you see that? It's really pretty. It's kind of embossed, but kind of dots. Okay. And so these are our basic white, and you cut 4 of these, 1.5 by 1.5, that you're going to use for this part. So all we have to do, okay, before we put this on, we're going to remember, I'm going to remember this time to put this on here, and it goes at the bottom, this embossed layer, and you need to put this on so it doesn't show. That's why you put it on first before you attach it to this, which is what I should have done on that last one. Okay, so maybe I should show you first how I colored it. So this is a Stampin' Blends marker, and they come in packages of 2. They have a light and a dark, and the dark worked much better. And they have a bullet tip and a brush tip. A bullet tip is for writing, doing fine lines and coloring, and then the brush tip can also be for coloring larger areas, and we're going to color this particular piece of ribbon. So I just get my brush tip out, and I grab a piece of paper from my, I just save old mail and stuff, junk mail. I do that and put stuff I printed that I don't need, that I made a mistake on. And I'm going to do both sides of this ribbon because of the silver. Now it goes through the other part of the ribbon really good, and you can see it on both sides. But you'll notice I'm doing it a few times because I want it to be a little darker. And I really want to get that silver to be Highland Heather too. And it doesn't take quite as well, so I do it a couple of times, and I turn it over and I do it a couple of times. And that's how I colored the ribbon. Okay, so it's no longer the clearish sheer ribbon. Now it's the Highland Heather ribbon that I have. And do it on a piece of paper because you will make marks like that. And I didn't want to get it on this, so these are just my throwaway papers, disposables, so I'm just reusing. So now I'm going to go back to this, but before I glue this down, I want to attach this to the bottom, and you'll get a piece of it, and all you need is a couple pieces of Scotch tape. It's pretty simple. And I just fold it. The first side's easy. The second side, you kind of got to look at the front a little bit so that you get it straight, or pretty straight, when you fold it over. Okay. And then I have a bow that I'll tie your bow for you, because I have this nifty bow tire. And you will want to cut your, I make this piece of ribbon like 12 inches long because it's a little bit harder to tie when it's short. This one's only about 5 or 6 inches. And you can put it, you know, to the side, middle, diagonal, whatever you want. But again, I use a glue dot to attach that. You can use a piece of glue, you know, glue it just with a piece of glue, whatever's convenient. The glue dots are pretty nifty. Those are also linked. Okay. So now that one will be able to go down, and I think, what did I do? Yeah, I did use dimensionals on that, which I just had those. Dimensionals, more dimensionals. Okay, here's some more. So when I do a whole thing, I usually do the corners and I do the middle so it won't sag in the middle. And take the little papers off. And now I can just place this on here. Centering it. Okay, now I'm going to work on this piece before I put it on. So this is your 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I used the back of this one that has your stem on it, the words and I love you in different languages on it. I just turned it over and used this to cut this middle-sized heart, which is going to go underneath this heart because I wanted something different. So I have my 2 hearts there, and I got both of those hearts out of Hearts of Elegance too. And now I just take I have 4 pieces of 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 squares, and I am just going to glue those down. Kind of look at the top and the side. Make these even. They have a little bit more space in between them, but I want to keep my tops and my sides even. And my little squares that are already cut, I had those. Can you believe how quickly I can lose things? It's like amazing, isn't it? I just had those, oh, they're here, they are. They're underneath the hearts. Okay, these are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Cut 2 of each of your patterns because you've got 2 patterns, so they will have 4 squares. And you, again, you alternate those. And your stripes can go either way. I mean, they can go this way or they can go this way. But you alternate them. So you put 2 here, and then on the bottom, again, you're alternating so that these are diagonal from each other like that. And you just glue those down. So this is creating an interesting backdrop for your focal point that we're going to put those hearts on, and that's going to be our focal point. So then this pretty heart that I cut, I'm just going to glue that onto here, and so I can squiggle it around and get it where I want it. And then I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. Ha! Still have track of those. Amazing. I'm going to put 3 on. I still don't know don't see where I put the other ones. Crazy. Oops, my heart came off. Oh, I should not have done that. Okay, this is a learning lesson. So I wanted my heart. Oh, my heart is just slipping around. It's terrible. My heart's slipping around. I wanted my heart back on there. I'm gonna have to put some more glue on. Yeah, don't stick your sticky dimensionals on a piece of paper. That's not where you want it to stick, but we can fix it. An opportunity to fix it. Okay. So these are kind of sticky, but not as sticky as I want them. So what I'm going to do is put a fairly generous glob of glue on there. And I'm going to stick them down. I still get the dimensional effect. It's still going to stick. Okay. Then I use Stylish Shapes. I use this one. It has 2 dots on it. That's how so that means it was the second one from, there's one I think smaller than this. So this is the second size. And I put My Heart Belongs to You, which is from Hearts of Elegance, right here. That stamp is in this stamp set, My Heart Belongs to You. Now I'm going to put it on top of this heart, and I don't want it to like stick up above that. I want it to be flat and even. So when I put my dimensionals on this, they're only going to be on the ends, because I want the middle, which is going to hit this, to stay flat. I don't want it to pop up even more, and then it would look uneven. So this will make it look even. My Heart Belongs to You. So those are on the ends, and that's my middle. So now I go back to this, and oh, I'm crazy with dimensionals today. I'm only going to put them on the edges, not the middle, because I've got that heart in the middle, and like I said, I don't want to make that any more any higher than what it already is. And I center that, and I go get my little sequins. One of these kind of medium colored ones, and just put it right there. I mean, you can put as many of these things as you want. You get a lot of them. But I just put one right there for that. And I had, there it is, I have an inside, and this is white, 4 by 4.5. And my DSP goes on the inside, and that's 4 by 3/4 of an inch. And it was just what I had left over when I was cutting these things. And I used, I didn't use something that was exactly Valentine's-y, but it goes with this card. It's called Spring Corners, which is linked below, and it has all these really cool sentiments that are corners, and it has a few images that you can put on there that I thought were kind of fun, and I thought, oh, this would be for a friend, and I would really like this. So I cut it a little smaller than shorter than I usually do, because I'm also going to put this DSP at the bottom, and I want it all to look like it goes together, sort of. So I'm going to go back to my tape. This is Seal Plus. It's really sticky, so you don't need like a ton of it. And I'm going to put it close to that fold, but not on the fold, because I do not want it to interfere with the folding part of that. And I chose to use this side instead of this, because I had a lot of this on the front. So again, this is just 3/4 of an inch wide, and it's going to be flat because it's on the inside. And these hearts, they're upside down, right side up, sideways, so it just is what it is on the design. You don't have to pay attention to the direction. So that's the inside of the card. So that's just a really pretty card. It goes pretty quick. You just cut everything ahead of time. You can batch these cards. I've talked about that before. You can shimmer spray these cards if you want even more glitter and shimmering to go on with them. But these are the 4 cards that you'll get 2 of each in this month's package to make these cards. And I'll include the ribbon, I'll include all the stuff that you need, with a minimum of a $50 order, or excuse me, a $40 order. And you get gems if you get these cards and gems if you do the 50, and then the 60 you get the celebration item for free from Stampin' Up, and etc., like I explained before. So I'd also like to remind you that with your $60 orders this month, that you will get, I'll email this to you, but you'll need to give me your email address, and I have my email address below where you can send that. You'll get these tutorials on how to make these really cute cards from the Storybook Friends set that I was doing the last couple of weeks, and I'll cut all the stuff for you, and I'll send you things to make that. But you always have to have your own stamps and ink. You have to have the Storybook Moments stuff, or something that you can put in the middle of them. But I will send you all the paper cut and ready to go. You just have to have your stamps and ink, and you have to make your own. I'll cut the circles that you need, but you'll need your own focal points to put in there. But these are free also with your $60 order. You get these sent to you. I'll email them to you. I won't send them to you in the mail. You just get them in an email, and you can print them out. They have all really specific directions on how to do them, how to cut them, how to make them. There's pictures on what they should look like. The products are all linked, all that stuff. So that is included. So I hope that you will choose me as your demonstrator and order from me for your all your needs for making cards. It's a hobby that I love. I find it very relaxing to do it, and I spend quite a bit of my time doing it, and I hope that you might enjoy trying it also. I will see you next week. We're going to do Totally Toadstools next week, which is a really fun, we're going to make birthday cards and things like that. So I hope to see you next week at 11 a.m. on Monday. If you miss that time, it's no big deal, because this stays on my YouTube channel. It stays on Facebook, and you can come back and look at it anytime. Now on Facebook, I think they might disappear after a certain period of time, but on YouTube they stay on my YouTube channel forever. So see, that's one of the great benefits to subscribing to my YouTube channel. So I hope you'll think about doing that. Thank you very much. It was really good to see you.